It's very big, it's reassuringly expensive, it's absurdly comfortable, and if you want to drive one, you usually have to ask permission from your chauffeur. I'm talking about the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, which has been relaunched here with some fabulous new technical features. For a start, there's the keyless go access authorization system. No need for keys to get into your car, and to start the car, you just simply press a button. Then there's the Distronic Intelligent Autonomous Cruise Control, which basically means that it keeps a safe distance from the car in front. And what about the Command Electronic Cockpit Management System? It controls things like the telephone, the radio, CD player, the tape, and the television. And you can configure all the information on the screen any way you like. And finally, there's something called the Actively Ventilated Comfort Seat, which basically prevents you from getting all sticky at the wheel. Sounds more like a toilet to me.
The chaps in the Mazda design room must have been working overtime recently, because here at Paris they've unveiled loads of new models. In an attempt to win the family buyers, Mazda have launched a brand new 323 with a more compact exterior, but of course more space inside. And let's not forget the hatchback version, the 323F. The F, by the way, stands for futuristic. It seems that nobody can forget the millennium is just around the corner. Both models come with 4 engines to choose from. There's a 1.3, a 1.5, a 1.8 and a 2-litre diesel version. There's also this rather sporty looking concept which is based on the 323. Now, to increase the levels of fun, Mazda have put a 4-cylinder 2-litre engine under the bonnet, and to make sure it looks the part, the whole body has been lowered. And the world's obsession as we approach the millennium is of course the environment. And many manufacturers seem to have decided that the answer to all their problems is to produce small, economical city cars. Cars like this, the Demio, which is Mazda's other new vehicle. Yes, the Demio is another of those small on the outside, big on the inside affairs, featuring stacks of storage space and many cunning cubby holes. Under the bonnet you'll find a very fuel-efficient 1.3-litre engine. Yes, cars like this are, I'm afraid, what we'll be seeing far more of in the future.
Meanwhile, in Sweden, those ultra-sensible people of Saab have been revitalising their product range with a new millennium in mind, with a rather nice, smooth-looking wraparound 9.5 series. And this is the very latest from that stable, the Estate 9.5. It's powered by a choice of 2 engines, the 2-litre, the 2.3 Eco-Power light-pressure turbocharged engines, and of course it comes bristling with advanced safety features. Of course, there are front and side airbags, but also there are award-winning head restraints. Now, these prevent whiplash in the case of an accident because they come forward to protect the neck if you should have a bump. This is rather intriguing. Why on earth would you have a child security lock on the tailgate? Well, the answer is that this car was designed to have a 3rd row of rear-facing seats. But Saab aren't going to introduce them because they're not happy with the standard of them, so this remains an Estate.
What do you get if you cross a Volkswagen Passat with the Golf? The answer? You get a Bora, and I've been off to Sardinia to find out more. Volkswagen are very keen to point out that the Bora is neither the Golf or the Passat, that it has an identity all of its own. And in fact there will be a coupe version and an Estate version of the Bora to come pretty soon. But no matter what those chaps at VW have to say, I reckon one glance at this car tells you instantly which family it belongs to. The Bora, however, is very different to those two. It's named after the strong winds that sweep along the Adriatic coast, and the Bora itself sweeps in with a fresh new look. Inside the cabin there is plenty of space, both for the driver, the passenger and, surprisingly, for the people that sit at the back. It has the same high quality feeling in here that you get in the new Golf and also in the Passat. Everything feels very solidly built and there are a few really well designed touches. I love the easy pump action on the chairs, they're very comfortable. I love the way things have been dampened. It's a really nice touch and something you'd often find on a far more expensive car. And I also like the round dials and the way they light up an luminous blue when you're driving at night. Plus, as you'd expect in a Volkswagen, even the entry-level model comes with a very impressive list of goodies. When the Bora goes on sale in the spring, there are 5 engines in the range for you to choose from. 3 petrol versions, a 1.6 entry level, a rather more sporting 2 litre, and if it's refined power that you're after, then this V5 with a 2.3 litre under the bonnet will be the one for you. And if diesels are your thing, then there are 2 for you to go at. There's a 90 brake horsepower TDI and the superb 110. Now it's been very impressive under the bonnet of the Passat and there's no reason why it won't be just as good in the Bora. Another great feature is ESP or Electronic Stability Programme. Now it's available as an option on all the models for a few £100 but comes as standard on this V5 version. Now its intelligent system senses if a wheel is starting to lose grip and what it does is start to apply the brakes before there's any possibility of you getting into trouble. A very handy gadget to have. There are also plenty of extras for you to choose from, like satellite navigation, which is one gadget that I reckon pretty soon most of us won't be able to do without. If you've ever wasted hours trying to find your destination, then I reckon that £2.5 spent on one of these gadgets to get a satellite to guide you there is actually money pretty well spent. The Bora is a wonderful blend of Volkswagen at its very best. It's a superb mixture of style, comfort, build quality and safety in an affordable package. It's the car that you never knew you needed, a car that bridges the gap between the hatchback and the saloon.
Well, another very popular area in the very warm Paris Motor Show is the Honda stand, where there are a few new models to be gawped at, including the 6th generation of the very successful Honda Accord, and the second to be specifically tailored towards the European market. And here to talk about that with me is Ken Keir, who's the UK Managing Director for Sales. Ken, the Accord down the years has been a great success for you, so why the need for even more changes?
The need's pretty simple. We're accommodating the car for the European market. This is the first car that's been researched, developed solely for the European customer.
And talk me through it. What are the salient details of this car?
We've benchmarked or prioritised 4 elements. The environment, all important. Refinement of the car in terms of smoothness, quietness. The driving performance, brake, steering, we think just as good as any in the market, maybe the best. And lastly, the comfort and the usability of the car.
If there were any defects in the previous Accords, what would they be?
It's not the defects, it's evolution really. This car we've put a huge amount of work in trying to clearly identify what the customer wants.
Ken, thank you very much indeed. And one of the great things about this stand is there's a wall of water that comes down here intermittently, and it's the only thing that's keeping people cool. So we're all very grateful to you.
You're welcome, thank you.
You couldn't get that in the car wash now, could you? It's simply enormous. Bugatti, of course, are now owned by Volkswagen, who seem to be buying up every second manufacturer they can get their hands on. But at the Paris show, they've unveiled a stunning new Bugatti. And VW is saying that you can see Bugattis back on the road in the very near future. Well, Suzuki may have chosen a supermodel to launch the Jimny, their latest 4x4 recreational vehicle here at the Paris show. But I have to say, on first glance, it's got anything but supermodel looks. Will it be any better to drive? Well, Ian Royle's been finding out.
Every year, car manufacturers like to show off their latest concept cars at motor shows all around the world. It's a chance for their designers to have some fun, come up with wacky, wonderful, weird ideas of how they think cars should look. Now, alas, very few concept cars actually make it into production. The Audi TT is the best example of one that has. Alas, this gorgeous Chrysler Kronos we saw at Detroit will never make it into production. Car manufacturers really ought to have more trust in their designers. Now, this is a picture of a Suzuki concept car. As you can see, it's butch, it's muscular, it's a fun four-wheel drive for the younger generation. In reality, that concept car has turned into this, the new Suzuki Jimny. And perhaps you can see my point. Why, oh why didn't they have more trust in their designers?
The Jimny is Suzuki's new small vehicle designed to enhance high-energy lifestyles, whatever that means. I'm sure it will appeal to the younger generation who want a cheap 4x4 Jeep-style vehicle. They can buzz around the fashionable areas of their city in, and the Jimny would certainly seem to fit the bill. It's compact, it's trendy, and above all, it's cheap.
Yes, a new Suzuki Jimny like this can be yours for less than £10,000, and that represents tremendous value for money. Plus you get a whole host of standard equipment: electric mirrors, electric windows, power steering, dual airbag and a radio cassette player. Plus, for an extra £1,000, you can beef it up with some specially styled accessories: a plastic bull bar, front fog lights, alloy wheels and side steps. It's what Suzuki call their city look, perfect for parking outside your favourite bistro. Now, I've really enjoyed driving this Jimny. It's quite a fun car to drive. Its buzzy little engine revs quite freely. It's only a 1.3 litre, so you hardly get kick in the back acceleration, but it just trundles along pleasantly. The steering, though, is a bit of a problem. Very light and very vague, and that can make the car very twitchy on our famous British uneven roads.
In normal driving, you'd have the car in two-wheel drive, but you can change easily into four-wheel drive at speed in a straight line, and it's as simple as moving this lever back and we've got four-wheel drive, should you need it. Suzuki set up this rather tame off-road course for us to try the Jimny out on, and of course it coped as it should do for a four-wheel drive car. This is no Land Rover though, but if you do need the capability of an off-road vehicle without pushing it to its extremes, the Jimny copes okay.
So there we are, that was me going round a rather tame off-road course, if all truth be told, to see the dynamic and off-road capabilities of the new Jimny. It handled very well for what the course was, but don't think that the Jimny is going to replace your ageing Land Rover on off-road, because it certainly won't. Smart in city, tough in nature is Suzuki's philosophy for the new Jimny. Tough in nature, to a certain extent. Perhaps we'll reserve judgment for the time being. Now, inside the new Jimny, there's a reasonable amount of space for what is such a small car. Rear passengers, okay for kids, not so great for adults, and luggage space, nothing to write home about. Lots of headroom though, and of course you get that high-up, commanding driving position. The fascia though just lacks a bit of flair. It's typical Japanese, but hey, this is a cheap car for goodness sake.
Suzuki's marketing line for the new Jimny is smart in city, tough in nature. One of those bizarre slogans that means, well, goodness knows what. It's a competent car, the Jimny, with a great price, but smart and tough, I'm not so sure about. It has its failings: poor ride and suspension, and of course that tiny engine. But for the money, you can't complain too much. Suzuki make great motorbikes, but rather average cars. So if only they could address that problem, these cars would be so much more desirable.
Well, it's time now to take a short break, but we'll be back with more news from the Paris International Motor Show in just a couple of minutes. Keep watching. If you've ever been to Spain, you may well notice that every other taxi driver is behind the wheel of a Saab Toledo. And that's for two reasons. First is national pride, but secondly, the fact that it has an absolutely huge boot. A boot so ginormous that next time round Noah wouldn't have to bother with the ark. He could just file his animals in 2x2 into the boot of the Seat Toledo. Unfortunately though for Seat, the size of its boot was about the most positive thing you could say about the car. But not anymore. Just take a look at the new version. The great looks of the new Toledo have been designed by a Brit, Steve Lewis, who studied at the Royal College of Art. Steve has overseen the transformation of the Toledo from a humble, practical car to this rather glamorous upmarket version. It now features a distinctive new family nose, which will appear on every new Seat. The new Toledo is based on a platform shared throughout the Volkswagen Group, which has already been used on the A3 and the Skoda Octavia. It's roomier inside and has plenty of refinement. But if there are any Spanish taxi drivers out there watching, then don't worry, because the Toledo still has a huge boot.
This is definitely the year of the semi-tall family compact car, because look, here's another one. This time making its world premiere, the Mitsubishi Space Star. Now the key words here are fuel economy and bags of space.
In developing the 2.4-litre GDI engine, we placed higher emphasis on fuel economy, along with better performance. And also we put much emphasis on further reduction of nitrogen oxide and hydrocarbon emissions and so on. The Space Star is a new concept family car with maximum space utility in a compact semi-tall profile body. The highly efficient 1.8-litre GDI engine is a perfect fit for this efficient and practical car. The Eco-Engine GDI has been developed by Mitsubishi Motors not only to comply with emissions regulations all over the world, but also as technology that will benefit our customers and our environment.
Well, I've managed to squeeze my way onto the Volkswagen stand, which is absolutely packed with cars. Of course, one of the big stars is the new Beetle, which is here, but there's no hints yet as to when that's going to go on sale. One new car that is on sale now, it's this. It's the Lupo, and Chris has been driving it.
Beautiful shores of Lake Geneva and Volkswagen's new small car, the Lupo. Why do they need a small car? After all, they've got the Polo. Well, the answer is over the years, Polo has grown into one of the biggest super minis. It's almost the same length and weight as the original Mark I Golf. So Volkswagen say there's room for a new small car contender. Now, while Lupo is small in interior space in the front and passenger side at least, it's very generous. Volkswagen claim that this area is the same size as their Volkswagen Polo, and in the press release they say that's the same size as a medium saloon car. Not quite sure about that statement, and there isn't an awful lot of elbow room on my side, that's for sure. But very generous headroom and lots of leg and hip room, certainly in this car. Comfortable supportive seats for a small car in this price range, and with the Swiss insistence that you stick to their very tight speed limits, and we're told radar traps everywhere, not a huge opportunity to exploit the performance and handling, but certainly cruising round Lake Geneva seems perfectly adequate. This is the 1.4-litre 75 brake horsepower engine. Nice 5-speed gearbox, typically Volkswagen in the way it performs as well. How can Lupo fail? It's well built, well equipped, and the price certainly on paper seems to be right. It's fitted with well-proven Volkswagen components, the colours are bright, the interiors are nice. So it's going to sell. And the fleet people say even if there's a recession, then the fleet market could well downsize into vehicles like this. Volkswagen appear to have it all ways.
Now, we all probably dream about owning a car like the XK180, but in reality, the car we need to buy has to be very different. It needs to be practical and it needs to be affordable. That's why cars like Nissan's Micra are so popular. They're not the most exciting cars in the world, but they do the job extremely well. Just imagine how much more exciting, though, it would be if the Nissan Micra instead looked like this. This is the Kicks. It's Nissan's latest concept car, and it is actually a design study of how the next version of the Nissan Micra could well look. The emphasis, as always with these cars, is on space. Now, Kicks may be shorter than the Micra, but thanks to its long wheelbase and the fact that the wheels are positioned at the edges, it actually gives plenty of room inside. In fact, there's more rear leg room than in the Nissan Primera, and there's enough room to seat 3 adults comfortably in the back.
I'm really pleased to see the model here, and for me it's a great experience. Also for our studio, just to have this model displayed here and show our capabilities and Nissan's strengths in design in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, Europe is becoming increasingly important to Nissan, isn't it? And it shows it with the fact that you've designed this vehicle.
Yes.
What were you trying to create with it? What was your inspiration?
Our inspiration was that we thought that in this segment, B segment, Nissan has a very strong presence right now through the Micra. And we thought that we should really push the European approach to this segment, and by doing this model to emphasize Nissan's and the European strengths of design and influence within Nissan.
Yeah, of course, the small car is very popular, is very important to Nissan in Europe. This could well become the Micra of the future, couldn't it?
It could be easily, but right now it's only a design study and one potential candidate for the next Micra. But it's in competition with other in-house design study models, so we will see. And we are also hoping that Paris show will give us a good response through the public and through the press. And if we get a lot of support, then it might go ahead into production.
So those are all the stories. That's all you need to know about the 100th International Paris Motor Show.
But don't forget that there's more news coming up from the Birmingham Motor Show, and that's in just a couple of weeks.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.